From Syria's civil war to the nuclear impasse with Iran, United States Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is challenging South Africa to take a more active and vocal role on the international stage.
In a speech today at the University of Western Cape, Mrs. Clinton applauded the vision and courage of South Africa.
Now, I've often heard it said that African problems need African solutions. Well, I'm here to say that some of our global problems need African solutions, too. And few nations on this continent can carry as much weight or be as effective partners and leaders as South Africa.
Secretary Clinton also announced that Washington has begun transferring full control of PEPFAR, the anti-AIDS program, to South Africa. The U.S. had limited the government's access to HIV and AIDS funding during the administration of President Ndimyake. Though South Africa has made advances in slowing the infection rate, more than 17% of the country tests positive for the virus.
Now, following her stay in South Africa, Clinton travels to Nigeria, Ghana and Benin. The trip has already taken her to Senegal, Uganda, South Sudan, Kenya and Malawi. Now, VOA's Anne Look has been traveling with Mrs. Clinton during her Africa tour and joins us now by phone from Cape Town, South Africa. Hi, Anne.
Hi, Anne. Hello.
I'm curious about the reaction to this particular speech at the University of Western Cape and the other speeches she's been making throughout her tour.
Well, she spoke to a fairly packed auditorium of students at the University of Western Cape, and, you know, at moments she got cheers, she got laughter for her little quips and her kind of personal asides to her speech, in particular when she was talking about her own memories and interactions with Nelson Mandela. So a fairly positive reaction.
Now, Mrs. Clinton's message to South Africa, in my opinion, had a very, very different tone, very, very different feel in addressing the crowd. There was a lot of reference to us and we, almost as though South Africa is an equal partner to the U.S. Can you shed some light into what's happening there?
I would say that's been very much the point of this 4-day visit, that South Africa is an equal partner with the U.S. South Africa plays an increasingly important role on the world stage. They sit on the UN Security Council. The new president of the African Union is from South Africa. So I think Secretary Clinton was here for her second annual strategic dialogue with South African leaders to explore that cooperation and that partnership and how they can better communicate and better align their efforts. And I think the Secretary was really calling on South Africans today to take their place on the world stage. Mm-hmm. And she was actually calling for, she applauded their efforts in terms of bolstering regional security, brokering deals in the region, their leadership in nuclear nonproliferation. But she pushed them to go even further. Mm-hmm. and to really push and realize that their values that have made this country so successful need to be pushed outside of their borders.
Outside their borders, for sure, South Africa has been known very much for the role that it's played within the continent, but now it's being looked at to help influence what's going on in Syria, what's going on in Iran with its nuclear weapons ambitions. What is South Africa expected to do by the U.S. on that level?
I don't know that we can really say, but the Secretary was here today she was here on this trip, and she was expected to try to push South Africa to agree with the U.S. or to support further sanctions, further crackdown against Syrian President Bashar al-Assad on the UN Security Council, and also to push them to even today she mentioned pushing them to use their influence to.
And we only have a few seconds left. I know she talked about AGOA, PEPFAR. There's a lot of discussion, but I want to talk about the big elephant in the room, which is, of course, China. And what case is Secretary Clinton making for the U.S. in terms of what it can offer, what China cannot?
Yeah, without ever uttering the word China, this whole trip can be interpreted as the U.S.'s effort to counter, growing Chinese economic domination in Africa. This trip was very much about promoting U.S. investment and U.S. trade with African countries. And the main selling point is, the contrast between China's methods and perhaps an American strategy towards Africa that is more aimed at, as the Secretary says, building mutually beneficial partnerships that are going to work, that are going to create jobs on both sides, that are going to create development on both sides, and that are going to pay closer attention to things like human rights and democratic values.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much, Anne, for that insight. And look, for VOA, reporting from Cape Town in South Africa.